Good evening. Welcome to the Shadow Trader Video Weekly for Sunday, May 26th, 2013. Happy Memorial Day weekend to all. Hopefully you are having a restful weekend and gearing up for the next week of trade, which will start on Tuesday morning, the 28th. All right, we finally got the route that I was looking for in the S&P, about a 50-point move down from the highs. Unfortunately, it was a very tricky trade to pull off with the trend channel being violated to the upside and moving actually much higher. But once the overextension became really extreme here from the 20, I was talking about a 40 to 50 point move from the 20 MA, and at the highs it was actually 60 points. So just on a personal note, as I tweeted, that I was getting short right here, I did end up fighting it for a little while, which I was not very proud of. Taking some off, putting it back on, and I was able actually to get some on here on the Fed-induced Bernanke move up to the highs, and thus far, then with the subsequent drop over the next couple of days, the trade actually worked out okay. But in hindsight, looking at it, it was definitely not the move that I was looking for, because if you recall, I was watching this trend channel for a long time. The short was here, and what I was looking for was an immediate reversal move to the downside, at the very least to the center of the channel, which would have made it a pretty easy mechanical trade, and then a move to the low end of the channel. Notice that what happened instead is you actually got this flurry of buying here, took it higher. Here's the Fed move. You had a spike move when Bernanke was speaking, and then he released the minutes later that afternoon. Market came down, but notice where we came down to. This is very interesting. Not very deep into the channel, not even to the center, and right to here, where we know there was congestion before, support of these prior highs, which is a breakout area. Wherever there's a breakout area, that prior resistance becomes new support. And notice that to the penny, the S&Ps went down to 1635 here, and then the next day, which was Friday, we went to 1636.88, so a slightly higher low. So going forward into this week, it's very obvious where our key reference point is to the downside. If this level gets taken out, then expect more selling, and we'll probably go lower. If the market consolidates here or goes sideways to up, fails to take out 1635, then the bias remains to the upside, and the market should make yet another new high and push closer to the 1700 area. Okay, if you look at all of the majors, they really look the same. Dow, same thing, pulled back to that higher low. Notice that even here, the Dow didn't even make it to the consolidation area, actually pulled into a higher area. NASDAQ Composite, that's actually Comp Q on these charts. NASDAQ Composite, I'll take this fib off. Also, just pulling in a little bit, same thing. And let's look at NDX as well. Same thing, pulled right back to the 20 MA and holding. All right. If we look at the profile, it's really kind of showing us a similar tale in that the momentum to the downside has been somewhat muted after the first couple of days. So what I'm noticing here is that here's the sell-off day. You had an excess high put in. Huge sell-off then after that. Profile got itself relatively stretched out, and it turned out to be a double distribution day where you have one here, and then you have another distribution down here. Double distribution day is never as weak to the downside as if it was a more steady profile that all looked like this. All right, so just keep that in mind. Double distribution is not as weak as if it was a different shaped profile that didn't have the two distributions. Notice that after that, Thursday, you had breakaway value. And remember, we want to always think about trading value and not price. We don't want price to kind of, make us very myopic and be focused on price, and we have to keep in mind where value is. Value had a breakaway gap to the downside. That's bearish. But then Friday, notice what happened. We failed to take out Thursday's low. It held. Here's that double bottom, which is those hammers I just showed you on the chart. And then the market moved up for the majority of the day, closed at the high on a good looking pattern here, not really too stretched out, not double distribution, whatever. And value was where? Lower, but overlapping to lower. So you've no longer got the breakaway value that you got the prior day, where they were separated. So it remains to be seen if this action so far is balancing this move, or if it's actually a counter move. Right? Counter move meaning that it's actually going to turn around and go back up, or whether this action is just balancing action off of this move down here, which is ending up digesting it. You have a very prominent point of control here from Thursday, which was tested in Friday's action. Friday's action actually has a little bit of an excess high that went through it. However, look where Friday's action closed. Very close to the highs. Little bit away from value, got a little bit ahead of itself, but not really bad, right? It's not like price just shot up here on a short covering rally, and you had, for instance, all the value down here, and let's say the point of control, the fairest price to do business, was all the way down here. That would be a little bit more bearish because you'd have, really momentum just consisting of short covering action to the upside, and the fairest price to do business not migrating up. So kind of an interesting juncture here. Really what's telegraphing to me is more of a wait and see, not really a super clear picture like when you have, for instance, in the S&P, looking at a trend channel resistance or a midpoint of the trend line or coming down here to the 50 MA. The retracement thus far has been shallow in relation to the whole move, and thus far technical support here is held. So that's just the way I'm going to look at it, is just basically take it a little bit slower this week, wait and see. We know where the key reference is to the downside. If the market continues to hold above the 1635, then there should be more upside in this market. It's as simple as that. If we take out the 1635, then I would think that more sellers would come in and take the market deeper into the center of the channel, and possibly even as low as that 1600 to 1590 area where the bottom of the channel is. All right? That being said, I got a lot of good ideas for this week that I'm looking at. If you look at the Shadow Trader Ask the Shadow in the newsletter that you're looking at now, where you're watching, if you haven't checked it out yet, please read all of the commentary in the Ask the Shadow column, which talks about a inverted head and shoulders forming in Apple. This is my first idea here, and I think it's a good one. I think it's going to play out over time to bring Apple to 500 and then to 550 up here. And if we look at the weekly, you can clearly see the inverted head and shoulders forming. There's a snapshot of it in the Ask the Shadow column. And you can clearly see that this line here, 420, is the neckline. I tweeted before that I thought that 420 would be strong support in Apple. It turned out to be. And we have a trend line here, and we have another trend line here. And that's the only thing that makes this kind of tricky, is that the pattern is kind of splashy. It's a little bit messy. And I'm going to take off this fib for now. So the pattern's a little bit messy. On weekly bars, be aware that you could retrace all the way down to 420, and the pattern could still be intact. So the entries are either here, above last week's high, this is the 448 area, or once you clear this area here, which is kind of a double top at the 465 area. This high is 469, so it's a little higher. This is about 470, and this is 465.75. I don't think you need to clear the middle high to be in the trade. I think you just need either to clear this high or clear the trend line to the upside. If you look on a daily, you could either have a stop underneath the trend line, or, as I said, be careful, because the stock could easily go to 420 and still have the pattern intact. That would actually be a great entry if you retested 420. If Apple goes below 420, the whole thing is negated. Okay, so there's a couple of different entry points and where you would have possible stop points. Now to the upside, look at the weekly. Actually, I'll put it on the weekly here, and look at the retracement from the high to the low. It's that simple. And where is the 50 and where's the 61.8? Well, here's why I came up with the numbers that I did. I'm looking at 500 as a target. A, because it's a very psychological level, and B, look at the prior lows here. And I would think that price moving through here, once it clears these highs, has a pretty clear sailing up to the 500 level, which should draw it like a magnet. And then I chose the 550 because look at the 546 here. The entire move down, it would be a 50% retracement of that move. So that's what I'm looking at in Apple going forward. Okay, Goog. Have a trade on currently, which is a ratio spread that would benefit from price action to the downside. You can see this here in my Twitter feed. This was Friday afternoon. I sent out this tweet here. Here's a trade for next week. Goog, weekly put ratio, 835, 820, 1/2. I just filled it for even money. My cost was 0.0, max profit $15. This is a good trade to put on if you're new to ratio spreads and you want to just watch it all week long and see how it's going to play out price-wise, Greek-wise, how it's going to work out as Goog moves either up and down, and especially given the fact that it was put on for even money, so the cost is nothing except for the commission. How will that play out? Very simply, I am long one put at 835, and for every one put I'm long at 835, I'm short 2 puts at 820. So I have a $15 area between 835 and 820 to make money. It could be worth a maximum of $15, and I chose those strikes specifically because look at the Fibonacci retracement. The 61.8 is 822. So as Google moves closer into this area and we get closer to Friday of next week, you will see that this spread that is trading now for even money, 0-0, will trade for a lot more and could even be taken off for a credit. If there is no credit to be received, there was no money lost except for the commission. So that's something I'm watching on Google. All right. Next item up for bids is Chipotle Mexican Grill. Check out the line here. You got a trend line action here. Could even put it horizontally here. I like the support in this stock. I'm thinking it's a buy around the 360 level. That's about it, very simply, and we'll see if it can make it at least to the top of the channel, go back to the 380 area. If the market stays strong or just consolidates, as I was discussing earlier, a lot of these setups could work very well. All right, Netflix is another one. Netflix has already started to turn. I have a very small position here over the high of the hammer I'm holding. I would like to add to it on further strength. I think Netflix could slowly climb a bit higher at the very least to retest the prior high. Notice there was a bottoming tail hammer reversal, and then the stock was much stronger than the broad market here. Right? Look at how the SPY looked here. SPY did not get over the Thursday high on Friday, yet Netflix did take out. Netflix did take out the Thursday high, so that's a relative strength type play that I look at. And last but not least, we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also coming to a very strong support at the 165. It's supporting here at 170. I think the stock is a buy anywhere, honestly, between 170 and 165. And then, as I said, minimum target at least to the high of this range here before it broke out to 190. It could cycle back up to this area for about a 25, 30 point move, and then maybe even higher. So that's basically it. There's some good ideas for next week. You got Apple, you got Google, you got Chipotle, you got Netflix, and you got LinkedIn. So you've got 5 decent ideas for next week. All right? Again, have a great holiday. Hopefully all of you are resting. Next week is a shortened week, obviously, so that also bodes well for the ratio spread, right, of Google, because put it on last week, and now there's less days to trade there, so a little bit more theta burn, I guess you can call it. And we'll see how it all plays out, all right? On behalf of myself and the entire Shadow Trader team here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as always, I wish you good trading and good night.